What's up, everybody? Give it a couple minutes, see if anybody shows up. We'll go from there. Oh, man. Ugh. Whew, man, gotta stay hydrated. Gotta stay hydrated. Florida's hot, really hot. So, get going here in a minute. All right, so I had a great day today. Got an opportunity to get back in the woods. We've had a lot of weather issues, to say the least. We've gotten a lot of rain this year as it was, but then Helene came through, really impacted the entire state. I don't think there's any place where you weren't impacted one way or another. Granted, some were definitely impacted a lot worse, especially up there in the Big Bend area. But and our prayers go out to them, and of course up in Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, all those areas. But then once the storm was past us, we had all these residual rains. I mean, it just rained all the time. So everything was getting flooded. We were still dealing with, winds and stuff like that, just gusty days. Even lost power just a couple days ago. We lost power for about 4 hours for really apparently no reason. So inundated with calls and people checking because we got another hurricane coming up. It's supposed to hit us probably sometime Wednesday. So it'll be an exciting week for me to figure out work and what we are going to plan for emergency services and what we're going to be taking care of. But those are the things that we have to deal with. But this one, if it's the way it looks, is we're in a direct path. So we're like ground zero. I hope it's not as bad. I mean, they're estimating a Cat 3, so that's pretty tough. It's a pretty tough hurricane. Staying home on a Cat 2, Cat 1 is not so bad, but 3s and 4s and on up, that it gets pretty bad. So hopefully it changes course, but again, that's not a nice thing to say because it's going to hit somebody. I mean, it's heading directly to the middle of the state. So if it goes south, it's going to hit south. If it goes north, it's going to hit north. So, but like I said, my area is literally direct path. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. I put out a video today. I did go out. I wanted to mostly assess the area after the hurricane and see what was going on out there and stuff like that. Evidence-wise, it wasn't that good. I was slopping through a lot of water. Thank God I had my rubber boots and I was able to go anywhere I wanted to go, but I was sloshing through water the entire time. It was very, very, very wet. Sometimes 6 inches of water, sometimes 4 inches of water, but it was a lot of water. So a lot of down trees. Right now, it wouldn't take a whole lot to down a tree here because the ground is so saturated. So a good solid windy day is probably going to push some of the larger trees over. But I wanted to go out there, look around, assess the area. I actually had a goal. I wanted to hit a very specific spot. I never did make it there because the trail was just completely flooded. When you can't, it's really dark water. I mean, black. So I don't want to step in it and there be a hole or some kind of obstacle that I don't see and I get injured or whatever. Because it's pretty far walk back there, so, and I even made that comment in the video that, I say it all the time, as far as you walk in, It's the same distance you got to walk out. The only difference walking out is you're a lot more tired than you were walking in. So you got to keep that in mind when you're out there. So, but I was out there, and at one point I was just sitting in my chair. I keep this little chair. It's a compact little chair that unfolds, and I sit on it and kind of glass the area and just check things out. And I was sitting there, and I got to thinking, and that's what tonight's discussion is about, is all the disinformation that's constantly being put out there, and I was watching this thing on UFOs. Okay. I'm not a UFO guy at all. It's entertaining. I like to watch it, but I'm not saying I don't believe in them. I'm just not into all things UFO. I'm just not. But this was more not about the UFOs themselves, but about the disinformation that's out there. And the show really keyed in on like 4 different guys that were the big names back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s when it came to UFOs. These are the guys that were in the military, and these were guys that had actual inside information, or they had actual encounters while they were in the military, or they were part of a secret base and they saw this and saw that and stuff like that. Well, the show really did a deep dive into each one of these individuals. Okay. And they came across some pretty interesting information, and that each one of these guys, claiming that, like the one guy, I'll give you a prime example. The one guy, he had half a hand. He was missing part of his hand. He just had a couple fingers, stuff like that. He says that he was at the Dulce hidden base and got into a firefight with aliens that were living in this underground base, and a plasma ray hit his hand, and that's how he lost half his hand. And he was on the whole circuit that he was in the military, and he was this, and this, and talked about, all this stuff going on at this hidden base. Well, come to find out, there's a deep dive on this guy that everything was a lie. Everything was a lie. He actually lost his hand back in college while he was in college. He was working for a electric company, and he hit a live wire and shocked him, blew off half his hand, because a guy that went to college with him was there, said, no, this is what happened to his hand. This guy, the guy claiming all this false stuff, he's already passed away and stuff like that. And it was really funny because he had made a comment, weeks prior that, just so everybody knows, I'm not suicidal. I'm not going to kill myself. Well, they found him as apparent suicide in his apartment. So that, of course, added to the lore. Oh my God, he warned us, But kind of find out, for a long time, his family said he fought depression for a long time. He was, he had a lot of issues going on in his life, financial and stuff like that, and he was fighting depression. But as they were deep diving into this guy, and they found out about his hand, they found some documents, they found some stories that he was saying that they had found that were actually written in obscure UFO books and novels that came out like in the 60s and 70s and stuff like that. Science magazines that would come out with these stories. And so basically he was embellishing these stories on current dates and claiming that these were true and this is what happened to him. But what was really surprising about all these guys that they were talking to or looking into was they all had ties or worked for the CIA. And that's when they came up with, these guys are put out there on purpose to give you disinformation, all done by the CIA. They don't want you knowing the truth. They don't want you knowing this, don't want you knowing that. And if you got somebody out there, now we're getting into the Bigfoot arena, because we all see it. Everybody, all you guys that are watching this right now, me, myself, everybody, we're really big into Bigfoot. This is something we believe in. This is something that we're intrigued about, we're interested about, and we want answers. And we listen to certain people, we read certain materials, because we're trying to get the answers that we're looking for. And that's why I go out every weekend, because I'm just trying to find answers. So you've got these guys that are implanted. in conferences, in podcasts, or in interviews and stuff like that, that their story is so unbelievable. I mean, so crazy that there's no way it could be true. See what I'm saying? But this guy swears this is true. This is what happened, and this is this and this. Like, for example, if we throw in orbs and UFOs and portals and all this stuff into the Bigfoot arena, what it does is it makes the Bigfoot people look crazy. Makes us look crazy. That's the disinformation, is let's put people in there as believers and make the Bigfoot people look as crazy as possible so that everybody else doesn't believe them. And those that are in the Bigfoot community will start looking at this going, wait a minute, I'm surrounded by a bunch of crazy people. And then they kind of drop out of it. So it kind of made me sit there while I was sitting in my chair in the woods today, thinking about, how, if they would do that with UFOs, which, they did it very easily, how easy would it be to do it in the Bigfoot community or any other, paranormal thing that's out there or whatever that they just don't want you to mess with. You know what I mean? Because that's one of the biggest questions is why doesn't, Bigfoot, it's an animal, it's a creature, it lives in the woods. Why would there be any issue with us knowing the truth? What would be the issue? See what I'm saying? Well, evidently there are some issues, and the powers that be do not want us to know those answers. Me and Miguel with Sasquatch Theory were talking one day on the phone, and we were talking about different theories like that. And you kind of wonder if all the Sasquatch that are out there, all of them, you know what I mean? Who knows how many there are? It'd be a wild guess just to determine how many are out there. What if they were all already tagged? The government's already tagged them. They know where they're at, what they're doing at all times. Okay? They track them by satellite. They track them whatever. They just know where these things are at all times. And when they become a problem, they take care of it. Or if people get too close, they take care of it. See what I'm saying? Just a theory, not trying to create some craziness, but I'm just saying is what if? Because when we had our incident in the woods, and I hear this all the time from researchers where they talk about, my equipment died, the batteries died, I was having this issue, that issue, blah, 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 blah. I never had an issue. Every time I go out in the woods, I never had an issue. Everything ran perfect. Everything went perfect. Everything was good until it happens to you. And then you go home and you're wondering what just happened. Why did that happen? You know what I mean? And we were out there, and I've gone through this story before in the past, but long story short, we were out there. There was a documentary group that was documenting me and Jimmy while we were out in the woods and stuff like that. And we could hear a drone. We heard this drone the whole time. The drone stayed in the air. I have a drone. Okay. I can't keep that thing in the air for 25 minutes and the battery is ready to be changed out. And I got 3 batteries. So at best 25 minutes per battery. Okay. So I can use it for a short period of time, but the rest of the day I'm done. This thing stayed in the air for a very long time. Very, very long time. And you could hear it. And I've got video, way back. It's almost probably going on 2 years ago. You can hear the drone, and you hear us talking about it, and you can hear the drone in the video. There's a drone. So that really got us perplexed, and we could never find it. We'd look and look and look, and we could never find this drone. But you could clearly hear it. So when I got home, things were different. My body cam, all the preset dates and everything had changed. Everything. And matter of fact, it actually set the manufacturing date to prior to this equipment being manufactured. It was like a created date before this thing was even made. So that didn't make sense when I was looking at this stuff. And then I had filmed some different areas while I was out there. I did some filming and stuff of my own, even though the documentary crew was doing some filming. And I got home and I couldn't find it. It wasn't anywhere. I was searching and searching. I was like, where is this stuff? And so it took me a couple of days, and I thought maybe it didn't record or it didn't save. Maybe I'd ran out of memory, or maybe had too much stuff. So I started deleting stuff. I started going back and deleting stuff. Um, so those of you that know, for example, I have an Android. So when you save something, if I took a picture right now of the screen, it saves to two locations immediately. First is my gallery on my phone. Then it goes to my cloud, which is Google Photos. Okay. When it goes to Google Photos, it goes in order. The last picture that you took is the first picture at the top of the screen. And you just scroll down to the older photos. So those films and videos and all that and everything I took that day should have been at the top, because I came home that day and I went to look at it. There's nothing there. So I was going through deleting everything, and I got all the way. I said, well, I'll go all the way to the very bottom, to the oldest stuff I have, and start deleting from there, because that's the oldest stuff. There it was. It was at the very, very bottom of that list. And it was dated. This is the date on it. December 31st, 1969. That's what whatever it was, it dated it and put it that far back in my files. Why that date? We didn't have internet back in 1969. We didn't have Google. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have anything. But it put that date on it, Didn't make any sense. Trying to look it up right now because I do have it in here. So going to photos now. All right, so when you put it in there, if y'all can see that, December 1969. And there's all my videos and everything. And if you look, that's a picture of me and my brother. And look where it's dated. If y'all can see that. I know it's kind of bright. But anyhow, it says January 29th, 2011. But yet the other stuff was December 1969. So it made no sense. And that's when we got to talking. And, people say a lot of craziness goes out there and stuff like that. And I always thought it was conspiracy theories. But evidently there was something to it, because that was the first time I ran into it. Now, I didn't have any batteries drain. All my equipment worked the entire time I was out there. It was just that the information that I was recording and the equipment that I was using was being manipulated. Something manipulated the dates and stuff like that. It would have been just easier to delete it. I don't know why, but it should have been just, if you can do that much, then just delete it and then problem solved. But everything had changed. So that's what goes into those conspiracies. And so when I go out there and I discuss that issue, and it's only ever happened once. I haven't had too many issues after that. And that's the area I was at today. I went right back to that same location. And there was a lot of weirdness that went on during that period of time while we were out there. A lot of weirdness. But like I said, it wouldn't take them much to put out a lot of disinformation, a lot of craziness and stuff. Like for example, what was that guy's name? Jump in the chat if y'all know the name. Richard Dyer. That's it. So Rick Dyer a lot of people don't realize he hoaxed twice. Okay. He was the original guy, him and another guy, that did the frozen Sasquatch in the freezer. They froze one. They said they had killed one. They put it in a deep freeze, froze it, and announced to the world that they had this Sasquatch. And then I won't name his name, but quote, thought he was a famous Bigfooter, but he was a hoaxer himself. He bought into it and he went all in. I mean, he went all in. Now, this guy was considered one of the top names in Bigfoot research, goes all in. See what I'm saying? So all his followers, everybody, that follows him and says, oh man, if he's all in, then this has got to be the real deal. Well, come to find out, they purchased this thing. I forget how much, but $50,000 or something like that. And I mean, literally before they could start melting the ice, that check was cashed. I mean, those guys were gone and moved on. See what I'm saying? Rick Dyer and this other guy. The other guy ended up losing his career over it because he was a correctional officer, I believe. And when they found out that this was a hoax and they got paid for it and all that, he got terminated from his job with the state. So Rick Dyer didn't care. Rick Dyer doesn't care about nobody. He's just a used car salesman. So, anyways, the guy that really bought into the whole "this is real," long story short, it became a hoax, and they knew it before they even fully thawed the thing out. Because once hair was visible, they took the hair and realized it didn't seem right, so they burnt it. And human hair, or animal hair, protein hair, burns like a wick, and it has that funky smell. This didn't do it. It melted like plastic. So that's when they knew, okay, we've been lied to. It's a costume, and it's been manipulated to look like a real creature with pig intestines in it and blood and stuff like that. They did a good job. Rick Dyer ain't dumb. He does when he does a hoax, he goes all in. But so, anyways, this guy's career was over in the Bigfoot world. I mean, they're like, wow, this is the guy, this is the man we're listening to, and he got punked. He got, hoaxed that this was real, and he went all in to the amount of 50 grand. So that's the type of disinformation. What if, we just look at it is, Rick Dyer and this other guy weren't, chosen or picked or paid to do this. They say, hey, we need to do some misinformation. We need to start shaking up the Bigfoot community so that, people look stupid, And I think that's why I take it personal when I go through the different pages. I go through, I'm on a lot of different feeds on Facebook, just watching and looking and seeing what's out there and stuff like that. And it blows my mind, the stuff that people are putting out there as, oh, this is real, this is it, blah, 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 and, you do a deep dive into it and you realize, no, this is fake. This isn't right. It's a lot of times it starts off with their name, all of a sudden their name is, a guy from India or something like that. And you're like, okay, or it's anonymous participant, or something like that. So definitely brings up some red flags and everything. I know the newest video that has come out, which I'm going to be probably one of the first ones to say I don't believe it's real, is the new one where Sasquatch is sitting there and he's playing with a little branch, like he's smelling it or whatever. And then he turns and looks at the guy and stuff like that. Now, I haven't seen anything longer than maybe a 30-second video of this, or maybe it's a minute. I don't know. It's very short. My biggest question is, if the guy's sitting there filming this thing, we need to see more. We need to see more. What led up to it, the actual filming of it, and then what took place afterwards. How long was this video? Because I always question anything that if it's Bigfoot related and it's, quote, big news, this is real. I finally caught him on video. This is it right here. How come it's always on TikTok or Instagram or something like that? Or it's a 60-second reel on Facebook. Okay. It's not on the nightly news. It's not on, CBS, NBC, or anything like that. It's on these 60-second shorts. So right off the bat, I get this red flag, like this can't be real, because I'm telling you guys, y'all know, everybody knows, my job to me is to go out there and try to videotape this thing. That's what I try to accomplish every time I go out there. I know I'm in an area where it exists. We found footprints in the past. We found some decent structures. We've got some really great vocals. Just a bunch of different things that have happened that told us this is a viable area. It's not viable year round. These things are moving. They're coming and going. So it's catching them at the right time, because I've noticed that sometimes it's pretty active, and then sometimes it's just dead. And right now it's just dead. But I want that 10-second video. I want a good, solid video of this thing in motion, moving through the woods or whatever. I don't care. Walking across the trail. I don't care. But I want a solid 10 seconds. I'm telling you, if I get that video, okay, it's going to whatever's the biggest voice I can get out there to get this video out. It's not going to be a 60-second video on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or anything like that. It's going to be something big. Like, look, this is what I've got. Okay. So That's always the big red flag. Always the big red flag. Two, when you look at that video and you look at the face, there's no movement in the face. It's like stiff. It's just, you would think the thing would move its mouth, grimace, show teeth, nostrils move, some kind of facial movement. We're always doing facial movements, and there's nothing. I also paid attention to the hands. The hands are very stiff. They don't move. There's no movement of the hands, the fingers. They're very stiff. It's like they're gloves. Like he's holding on to what he wants to hold on, but he doesn't want to move anything else. See what I'm saying? So I'll be the first to go out there and say, I think this video is fake. I think it's a costume. I think the guy's sitting under the tree, kind of like the beef jerky Sasquatch, and his buddy filmed him and they got it out there. Again, it's misinformation. People are putting all this stuff out there. And like I said, if you put it out there for entertainment, I get it. Okay. It's funny. All right. I get it. If you got Bigfoot running in the woods wearing a tutu, I get it. It's funny. All right. But it's when they start putting it out there as fact. This is real. This is it. And you find out later that it wasn't. Those are the ones that piss me off. It's that disinformation, and that's what's hurting the Bigfoot community is people are allowing this to happen. Okay, you got these Facebook pages, and there's a lot of them. What I have learned, you probably learned, is if the title of the Facebook page says Bigfoot Believers, it's not. It's nothing but misinformation. That's all they want to do is disinformation. They want you to join that site. They want you to become a subscriber to that site so that they can make fun of you. See what I'm saying? If I want to make fun of UFO people, let's say they're my target. I want to make fun of UFO people. I'm going to create a Facebook page that says UFO believers. And all these UFO people are going to come and start posting their stuff. And then we attack. You get people on there that do nothing but attack. And you don't moderate it. You allow the attack to go on. And if you notice on these pages, you're allowed to be ridiculed. You're allowed to be, attacked by all these other people because it's not being moderated. It's all about disinformation. They're trying to put out wrong stuff and they're trying to hurt the community. And that's what's happening in the Bigfoot community is this attack. And it goes on every day, every single day. And it circulates. It has a cycle. Like you'll see something today. I saw it 4 or 5 years ago. It's just coming back around. And then somebody else found it. Somebody else is saying, hey, I'm going to put this out there again. Or they're like, this got a lot of hits, a lot of views back in, 2015. Let's see how it does in 2025. You know what I mean? And they just change the narrative and they throw it back out there. But it's the same hoax. Usually when something comes out, I give it a week or two, just watching it for a week or two before I actually say something about it. This one, this has come out about a week and a half, and I'm watching it. I've looked at the video a lot, and you're right, Timberland. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. I've said that on podcasts. This community, they always like to talk about it. And I use the word loosely. There is no community. You're right. Everybody's after each other. Everybody's cutthroat. The one thing about a lot of the researchers out there is if it was a community, we'd share. Okay, we would share, and I do share. There are researchers out there that I will share information with. Absolutely, without hesitating, I will share information with them. I wonder if you're familiar with Donnie Miller. He's in the Chipley, Florida area and had a very compelling encounter. He is not a researcher, but has a great YouTube channel, Standing Goods Rescue. Yes, I know Donnie Miller. Yeah, I mean, I don't know him personally. I know who he is. If he walked in front of me, I could point him out. I know him, that well enough. I was on the live show, or I was watching the live show with Carrie Arnold when Donnie was on there, and his goat gave birth, and they named it Bo for Bigfoot Odyssey. So yeah, I know that certain researchers have gone out to Donnie Miller's property and has done some stuff on there. Yeah, yeah. Kerry was a good friend of mine, and I knew him personally. I knew him not just on YouTube. We had gone out. We had been in the woods together a few times. Every time he came to Florida, he would meet up with Bigfoot Forest Giants and or give us a call and say, "Hey, this is where we're going to be. Could y'all meet us out there?" So we got to spend some time with him. Um, he's we've never had a conversation about Donnie Miller or anything like that. I've seen Donnie Miller's stuff. I've seen the videos and stuff like that. So. But go back to Timberland when we talk about the community. I was talking about sharing. If it's a community, you share and you say stuff like, hey, this is what I found. What do you think? I got guys I throw stuff at and say, hey, I filmed this. What do you think? Their opinion means a lot to me. So if they say, well, Rick, I don't think that's really good, or I see what you're seeing, but it's not good enough and it may be ridiculed. So, and automatically, bloop, I throw it away. Or I might put it into a file and save it for later, but it doesn't see the light of day. It doesn't go out to the public. We talk about different research techniques, equipment, different things like that. I got a drone because talking to Randy Harrington and talking to Miguel, I was like, man, I need to get a drone. So I got a drone, and I do like it. I think it has its place in Bigfoot research. It's not the one piece of equipment that answers all the questions. It's just one more tool in your toolbox that you can throw out there. I personally think the best equipment, and I had people ask me all this time, hey, I want to get into Bigfoot research. What should I get? What's the most important thing I should get? Two things. Get a really, really, really good cell phone with a really good camera. Android, the S22 Ultras, S23 Ultras, stuff like that. Best camera, bar none, in all of cell phones. Okay. I can show you pictures while I'm looking at the craters of the moon. It has 100 times zoom, very clear, beautiful picture. All my filming and stuff like that is, well, I'd say 95% of it is through my Ultra. Um, Fantastic. But second thing, thermal. I think thermal is the direction to go on anything. If you ever get an opportunity, thermal is where to go. The thing is with night vision. Night vision is great because you can see at night, but you're still seeing at night. You're not. It's still easy to hide. So if you're out there with night vision, all I got to do is duck down behind a tree, behind a bush, and you're not going to see me. But thermal's a little bit more difficult. You can still hide from somebody, okay? But you do leave a signature. So even if I hid behind a tree and then I left that tree, my heat signature is still going to be on that tree, okay? So I really, really, I'm big on thermal. And that's like Randy Harrington. He's got, I don't know how, I think this drone cost him 20 grand, but it's got thermal and night vision. So he can fly at night and look down and pick up things. I can't go that far, but I do have a thermal. I do have a thermal camera. I do use it, and I will be using it here when I go on vacation. I'll be out in the woods for a few days. But I think those are the two things, is a really good cell phone camera, because cell phones are easy to charge, easy to carry, stuff like that. So, cell phones have their place in Bigfoot research. You don't have to go out and spend a lot of money on some super expensive Canon camera or whatever, a really good cell phone. That's why, again, we have all that disinformation when we come with all these blob squatches. Okay, blob squatches is such an Achilles tendon in freaking Bigfoot community, or Bigfoot period. It shouldn't be that way. Okay, I can see back in the 70s and 80s and stuff like that, where the cameras that we had and stuff like that were crappy. I mean, that, I don't know what they shot back then, but I remember when 720p came out, we're like, oh, wow, 720p, then 1080p, and then 2K and 4K. So things have gotten better. We should not have blob squatch, period. We should not have blob squatch. We don't mention it too much, but we have a Facebook page. So if you go on, it's actually two pages, but if you type in Bigfoot Forest Giants, we have two pages, and you'll see this picture right here. on one of those. There's no blob squatches allowed on our Facebook page. There's no junk allowed on our Facebook page. We heavily moderate our Facebook page. You know, if I don't catch it, Bobby will catch it, or Jimmy will catch it, or Michael will catch it. But we don't let junk on there. So we don't have 100,000 people on it. We have 2,000 on one and 3,000 on the other. But it's because it's good information. Good videos, or at least logical stuff, good accounts, different things like that. There's no room for blob squatch. There's no room for that. You know what I mean? What you got, Timberland? Nevada picks up eye shine easier. Get the thermal. You're on both. More better. Yeah. Like I said. I'm talking about Timberland. Timberland said, that night vision picks up eye shine easier. It does. But the thing is with night vision uses infrared because it sends out information and retrieves information, where a thermal only brings in information. That's why there's no infrared. That's why you get eye shine, is because you're sending out information, and that's what's reflecting off. So, but again, with all these tools, with thermal, night vision, drones, audio, all this, they're all tools. They all have their place, but none of them fill the whole void. They don't fill, when I go out there, I'm carrying multiple things on me because I don't know what I'm going to need. They all have their place. They all have expertise, and that's what I'm going to use. So if I'm out somewhere and I want to look ahead of where I'm going, then I'll fly the drone. If it's starting to get dark, I'll throw on night vision. If it's especially cooler weather, that's the thing in Florida, is thermal does not work well in Florida. Okay. There's a lot of times we're in the woods. We won't even use thermal until after midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, because the temperatures need to come down, because the ambient, everything is hot. Everything. It looks like the forest is on fire. And so you have to wait till things cool down so you can actually use the thermal. Now, once winter comes, October, November, December, January, those areas and temperatures start going down, we start getting in the 60s and the 50s at night. Thermal's a lot better, a whole lot better. So, no, you're okay, Richard. I'm all about it. I'm all over the place anyways. Change the subject. You throw a question out there, I'm going to answer it. And if it takes me off course, I'm okay with it. I tell you guys all the time, the show is really about you guys. I just pick a topic and I try to talk about it. But if it goes in another direction, I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with it. What else do we have? I believe researchers should be alone. These large groups definitely make too much noise and start BSing stuff. Yeah, Richard. What Richard brings up is the fact that we should be out there by ourselves instead of large groups. I agree. To an extent, and let me explain to you. I'm out there every weekend by myself. Richard, I want somebody to be out there with me, to be honest with you. I do. I found myself in some pretty bad situations where I could have used some help. I've gotten lost. I've ran out of water. Just certain things have happened that I really needed somebody out there with me. Two, I can't carry everything. So if I go out there and I find the best footprint ever, I can't cast it. All I can do is measure it, do everything I can to document it, but I got to walk away from it because I can't carry a gallon of water and the casting material and a bucket or whatever. I'm already carrying way too much. So it would be nice to have somebody else that helps, carry some of the gear so we have whatever we need if we come across something. But then you're right, though, Richard. You're right on it when you talk about these large groups. I'll give you a prime example. When I was at the Bigfoot conference in Ocala this past June, after the conference, there was a bunch of people from the conference that were going to go out to this one location and do some research that night. I was the first person to back out. I was like, no, I can't do it. It was for a number of reasons. One, I was on my feet all day at the conference, so I was very, very tired, and I still have a 3-hour drive home. So that played a lot on it, and we didn't have all the hotels and everything were booked well in advance because there was also a country concert going on at the same time they had the Bigfoot conference. So everything was booked. So I just, the idea of crashing in my car overnight and stuff like that and driving 3 hours to get home just didn't sit well. But then I was telling my guys is, that when you got that many people in the woods and you all break up into different groups, you have to disregard all evidence. You have no choice, because if I would knock and there's another team, 1,000 yards that way, and they hear the wood knock, they're like, oh crap, there's a wood knock, respond. And they respond. Well, now you got two groups going back and forth thinking they got information when they don't, because this guy would knock, this guy would knock. They don't have radios. They're not all communicating with each other. They're not all on the same page. Again, like you said, they're talking, laughing, smoking, whatever they're doing. They're making howls and, oh my God, we just got a vocal, and you didn't. It was somebody on the other side of whatever ridge. So yeah, I don't do the big groups. I don't do the big groups. I think, when you're with solid researchers, really good researchers, like we went out last year and we had Sasquatch Encounter Brigade with us, and then BFFG. So there was 5 of us all together. Well, we would go out as a group, but we were together and we knew what each person was doing, and we were all professional. So we knew somebody wasn't going to do something. And then if somebody wanted to make a call or somebody wanted to hit a tree or something like that, they announced this, hey guys, this is what I'm going to do. So let's sit here, let's be quiet for a moment and see if we get a response. So we're working together, stuff like that. But when you have a big group and these people branching here, these people branching here, that's not for me. That's not for me. So that's, you're right. You're right on it, Richard. You're right on that. Big time. Is family dismissed, annoying personality aside. Okay, so Todd Standing. Let's talk about Todd Standing. Here's the thing with Todd Standing. This is where I stand on Todd Standing. I have nothing personally against Todd Standing at all. Okay. Do I believe he hoaxed? Yes, I do. There is way too much information out there that shows that some of the things that he did in the past were hoaxes. But with that said, let me defend him for a moment. The man is out there all the time. Okay. If you took all the researchers out there, the ones I'm going to put at the top of the list that are going to see this thing or document this thing is going to be those that are out in the woods the most. So you got people that do that. Randy Harrington's out in the woods. He spends a week at a time in the woods. Johnny Two Bears, he's out in the woods all the time. Different people, they spend time. Miguel, he goes on these trips. He went to Alaska. He was up there for a long time. You get these people that spend a lot of time in the woods, the better the chances. Like I tell everybody, it is a numbers game. Okay. It's a numbers game. I should have brought this in. I saved it. It's in my truck, but maybe I'll bring it up and go over it again in a couple of weeks or whatever. But it's all about numbers. And I did this numbers thing. I was on Woodwalkers. Is that, with Spencer Jameson. I was on his show a while back. Great guy. And I did these numbers. I said, let me explain to you. There's, I went into how many Americans are there in the United States. And it's a lot, 358 million or whatever it was. I said, let's take 0.5% of that number. 0.5%, not 1%, 0.5%. It still came out to be like 1.7 million people. Okay. Still a lot of people. And I said, let's say that's Bigfoot. 0.05, 5, tiny or whatever, tiny percentage was Bigfoot. Still came out to be like 1.7 or 17 million or something like that. It was a big number. Then I divided that out to the lower 48 states. Then I went in and did all this Googling and checked this out and found out how many counties are in the United States. And I put that number in there. Then I broke it down to my state and how many counties I had in my state versus population and stuff like that. Basically, it came down to this. And let's use Florida because that's where I'm at. You come down to 1.1 Sasquatch per county. Okay? That's it. So you're looking at, let's say, we have 67 counties in the state of Florida. So there's a minimum of 67 Sasquatches in the entire state. That, and like I said, this is just a theory. It's just a fictional number. I just threw this number out there. It's not accurate in any way, shape, or mind, but we're just trying to give you an idea of how hard and how rare it is to see a Sasquatch. And so if you take this, let's say it's 2. Let's just round the number up and say instead of 1.1, let's say there's 2 Sasquatch per county. My county is, I forgot the number, but it's 3 point something thousand square miles away. It's a huge county with 2 Sasquatch in it. Okay. And you got to figure how often do they come across each other. But 2, if you walk out your house to go find one of those 2 Sasquatch in this huge county, what are your chances of coming across? You both have to end up at the same location, same time, on the same day to see each other. So basically my point was making is how difficult it is to see a Bigfoot. There's a 0 chance that you'll see a Bigfoot if you don't go out in the woods. 0. If you don't go out there, you don't get off the couch, 0 chance. 0. That's a guarantee. We all know that. So I try to get out there every weekend. I try to spend time in the woods every weekend. If it's 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, whatever I feel like, however I feel like, I'm going to spend that time out there. I did a video today. I think it was close to an hour long. That's with a lot of editing. I got out there right around 8 a.m. and I didn't get back. I didn't leave the woods until almost noon. So I spent almost 4 hours out there. Then I got to go through, edit, and do all this to narrow it down to, I don't like an hour-long video, but I narrowed it down. That was the best I could do. So not sure. Well, you got to, well, Richard, there was a deep dive done on Todd Standing on the different videos. And they, first of all, they measured the distance between eyes was within the realm of human. They did do an inlay of his face over one of them, and everything matched perfectly. The lips, the nose, the eyes, the ears, everything. It was perfect. It was a perfect match. Sasquatch supposedly has eyes that are 6 inches apart versus ours. So it's a very large creature. We're talking a thing that has a head that's definitely absolutely larger than ours. A gorilla is larger than ours. But anyhow, they did that deep dive and they showed that how it doesn't match up. And then they went into some other details. You got to go look it up. I forgot who did the actual deep dive in it. Could have been Thinker Thunker or somebody like that. I don't remember. It was done a long time ago. But it was compelling. It was very, very compelling that he hoaxed. But here's what I believe. This is what I believe when it comes to researchers hoaxing. When the researchers actually get out of hoaxing, is because a lot of researchers get into research because they had an encounter or they caught something on video or something or audio or something like that, and that's what opened up that rabbit hole. And they started going out there and researching. You ended up being in it for years. You spent a lot of money and stuff like that. Well, then things kind of die down. You're not getting anything. You're just not getting anything. Or it's the same old, and you're getting bored of it and stuff like that. So I think that's what happens is they get bored of it and nobody's paying them attention or nobody's listening to them because they're not coming up with anything. So this is just my theory, is they go out there and they hoax something just to build up that fan base again. So people will listen to them and stuff like that. It's sad. You know what I mean? I've said that. I've said it many times. I think one of the biggest issues with Bigfoot researchers is they won't say, I don't know. And I'm quick to say, I don't know. If I hear something or I see something and somebody will ask me, a question, if I don't know, I'm going to tell you, I don't know. Now, there's no expert in this field, period. I don't care who they are. Okay. And there are definitely researchers out there that love to go by that moniker expert. They love that moniker. When you talk to them, they love that moniker, and there isn't one. Okay, there's not an expert, because if somebody comes up to me and says they're an expert in Bigfoot, trust me, I got some questions I'd love some answers to, and I guarantee you they cannot answer them. Guaranteed. So there's no experts. So I'm quick to say I don't know, and I've been doing this for a while. Um, like I said, I spend a lot of time in the woods. I get out there. Don't like being out there by myself, Richard. I don't. I don't. Um, so like I got this camp out coming out. So I'll be in the woods from the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and then I'll come out on the 20th. So it's what, 5 days, 4 nights. I'll be in the woods. I was by myself. The whole thing was I was going to be out there by myself, but now I do have somebody that may possibly be going out there with me. Trust me, I'm happy about that. I don't mind it. I need somebody out there. So Timberland, that's where you're from, Ontario? Is that what you're saying? So this is my opportunity because I got equipment I don't use year round. I like night vision, thermal, stuff like that. I don't use that stuff on a weekly basis at all. I usually save that stuff for these campouts. And I usually do anywhere from 3 to 4 campouts a year. This will be the longest one I've done. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, the way I've got it set up is where I'll be camping is basically base camp. That's where I'm going to eat, sleep, stuff like that. That's not where I'm going to do most of my research. I'm actually going to load up and drive elsewhere, do my research at another location, and then each day come back to camp, and that's where I'm going to relax and stuff like that. So the areas that you see in my videos, that's where I'm going to. I will continue to go out in that area. But I will be, but the reason why I'm camping elsewhere is because they don't allow camping where I research. There's no camping, no fires, no nothing. You can't do anything out there except for hike and bike. That's really it. There's not a whole lot you can do out there. That's why it's so quiet, so desolate out there. There's no trash. It's a beautiful place. I barely scratched the surface of that location. It's just that one area I go to is 3,000 acres, and I barely scratched the surface of that place. And we've come across some pretty fantastic stuff out there. But like I said, right now it's slow. I am trying different areas because the drone is showing me some stuff from the sky, and I'm like, wow, I did not know that was there. I want to check that out. So I'm checking out different areas and stuff like that, and we may get lucky. You know what I mean? It's been a while since I found a footprint, but I found some really, really good footprints out there. And they're not big. Okay, we're talking somewhere around the 12, 13-inch, frame. But there's y'all have seen the videos. It's so far out there, so far back there, and I go in some pretty deep areas. There's no reason for somebody to be out there with a size 12, 13 foot barefoot out in the woods. It's just, and one location I had to actually probably broke the law. I don't know, but I jumped a fence and then went down this easement between the property and the county and went into a swamp back there and found a footprint. You see what I'm saying? And who would be back there? Who would have that same idea to jump that fence and go into that swamp barefoot? You know what I mean? So, crazy stuff like that. So it's a viable area. I really do like it a lot. So me and this other guy, I'm not going to mention him yet because it's not 100%. He hasn't given me the 100% that he is coming. Or is he going to be there for the full 5 days, or he's just coming for the weekend? I don't know. So what I did tell him was, this is also my vacation. So we are going to take periods of time where I'm going to relax. I want to kick back in camp. I want to read a book. I got some books that I really need to get back into reading. Brian King Sharp, I got his book when me and him met. And I want to read that book. I still in the process of finishing up Jeff Meldrum's book, stuff like that. So I want to sit down, do some reading, get some of that stuff, because it is my vacation. But it's still, everything I do will be Bigfoot related. Well, we would have to be Hollywood caliber makeup artists. I get it. I think we numerous authentic pics. Well, I don't know. Again, on that, Richard, like I said, I'm only going by what they put out there. The very first stuff he put out, it looks like they were animatronics. The blinking wasn't natural, stuff like that. The movement wasn't natural. And like I said, the measurements all keyed up. Now, I don't know if there's any truth to it, but they say that his sister-in-law or sister does work in that field of makeup artistry and stuff like that. So he may had included her in making these things for him so he could use them out there. Now, the one that really surprised everybody, because when people started critiquing his stuff and they brought up all these issues with what he had put out there, he came out with another video that solved those issues. And it's the one where you see the down tree and the thing is looking through the hole. Um, that's See what I'm saying? All of a sudden it's real, it's natural. There's movement, there's the eyes are moving and the blinking, everything is real. It's real. But I think it's a real person. I think it's makeup. Okay. Because this thing is, he's that close to it and he's filming it through the hole in the tree. And that's all you get. Okay. See what I'm saying? Never what happened after the video? Did this thing ever stand up and walk away? Did it run? Did it throw something? It just stops. And that's always a red flag in these videos, is why did it just, why am I only getting to see 60 seconds of it? See what I'm saying? I'm telling you, if I'm out there and I'm filming and I get something like that, where this thing is just standing there looking at me, I'm filming the whole time. One of us is getting the hell out of Dodge. See what I'm saying? You're either going to see me running or you're going to see him running, but there's going to be movement. See what I'm saying? But in this one, it just sits there underneath the log looking through, this hole, and it's blinking and looking and stuff like that. So you don't get the whole picture. Now, they did a deep dive on that again, and and there was key things physically they were looking at that also matched human characteristics, and not something that would be 7 or 8 feet tall or anything like that. Again, I don't know. My defense for Todd Standing is, if there's anybody out there that's going to find this thing and actually get some good evidence, it will probably end up being Todd Standing. Okay. Because the guy is spending time in the woods. The guy's up in Canada. He stays out there all the time. Okay. So, like I said, the more time you spend out there, the better your chances of getting some evidence. And I think, like I said, I think he's got an opportunity here. Now, I think he's in the beginning, like I said, and this is all researchers, I think in the beginning, the heart was there and stuff like that. I'm just big on integrity. It's a key thing, especially in the profession I'm in. The integrity of my officers, the integrity of my team. When somebody breaks that integrity and stuff like that, it really hurts the unit. It really hurts the group. So I'm really big on integrity. And the thing is with Todd is, and it's sad because Todd may come up with some of the best footage we ever see in the future, but he muddied the waters. And that's a problem. Once you muddy the waters, it's really hard to come back from that. Even, Rick Dyer, you know what I mean, or something like that, finally comes out with something good. It's going to be hard to convince anybody because you muddied the waters, but it has a lot to do with who you surround yourself with too. I'll give you a prime example. Nobody likes Rick Dyer. Rick Dyer is a liar, a hoaxer. Not only did he did it for money. He stole money from people. Like the last hoax where he said he killed one and he had it and he was going around the nation charging people X amount of dollars to come inside this huge trailer and look at this dead Bigfoot. Okay. Come to find out it was a hoax, and he laughed about it. Yeah. But they estimate that he made well over $500,000 in the period of time that he was traveling the United States showing this thing. Okay. Now, this is where, hold on, so the screen popped up here. Sorry. Oh, come on. So here is, what if Rick Dyer actually comes up with something and something solid, something really good. Okay. And he comes on television with Jeff Meldrum, for example. He's with Jeff Meldrum, whose integrity is not questioned whatsoever in the Bigfoot community. Okay. And Jeff Meldrum says, look, I reviewed this. I've looked at it. I touched it, smelt it, dealt it, whatever. This is real deal. This is true, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's how somebody like a Rick Dyer or somebody like that's going to all of a sudden get some of their credibility back. Okay. But without that, nobody's going to give them an opportunity. Nobody. I use Rick Dyer because he's never going to get any credibility back. Somebody made a comment not too long ago that evidently somewhere he was in an interview or talking to somebody and said that he's close to another discovery. So don't be surprised next year or two he comes out with something else. You know what I mean? Because after every so many years, new people get into Bigfoot research, never heard of him, and they'll buy into it. You know what I mean? So. Another one is Sonny Vader. We've all seen his videos. Now, here's the thing with Sonny Vader. I don't have an issue with Sonny Vader. Hey, Sonny, give me a call someday, dude. Because I get he's doing it for entertainment. He's never proclaimed nothing. That's the part people miss. He's not on there saying this is Bigfoot. He's not on there claiming anything. He's creating videos and putting them out there as Bigfoot and stuff like that. But he's sitting back just watching and smiling because he's getting a ton of views. All right? Even though it's fake. They are all fake, okay? Sonny Vader's known for that. He's done it. But he does a good job, So it's entertainment purposes. And that's what we talked about a few weeks ago when I did the show talking about, liars, hoaxers, and entertainment. There is a difference, okay? There is a difference, somebody gets on and tells you an account. Some of us are pretty good about picking out liars. So they're lying. Some people are lying. They're just telling you a story. Okay. Then you've got hoaxers that literally go out there, create evidence, create this narrative, and claim that this is what it is. And then you find out it's a hoax. You know what I mean? So then you got entertainment purposes. It's fun. It's entertaining. A good example is the one where, remember, they were on the train and you see the one on the side of the hill and it sits down. I knew right away that was fake. As soon as I saw it, that was fake. But I waited. Again, I waited a while before I would make any comment about it. And sure enough, the museum that's in town, because that train does a loop, said that they didn't know it was going to get that kind of publicity, that it was going to go viral like that. And people thought, and they were like, no, it was purposely done to create interest in the museum. Okay. So it was not a hoax. It wasn't a purposeful hoax. They weren't trying to lie to anybody. It was entertainment. Okay. No different than going to, Disney World or Epcot or whatever those places are. And you see King Kong. Doesn't mean he's real. It's just to draw people in. That's all it is. Okay. Let me read that a couple times. Got any tricks for back road hydro line rose cruising? I don't know what that is. Tips or tricks? What's something we may... I don't understand your question, Timberland. I don't understand the question. I don't understand the question. See if you can rephrase it, or maybe somebody can tell me what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't know. Tips or tricks? What's something we may have overlooked? I don't understand your question. And then you put vehicle. I don't know. Try to rephrase it. I'm more than happy to answer, but I just don't understand the question. So like I said, there's hoaxes and stuff like that, But again, it goes back to tonight's subject is it purposeful disinformation to make the Bigfoot community look like we're idiots and that we're easily fooled and stuff like that, Only allows for short messages. Are you talking about the chat room? Because there's some big messages in there. I'm not really sure. Hey, Leonard, how you doing, buddy? How you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I don't know because Richard Howard's typing in some pretty long questions and stuff like that. So I don't understand, Timberland. Maybe it's on your side. I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that. Yeah, I'm doing great, Leonard. It's good to see you, man. It really is good to see you. Um, I hadn't seen you in a few shows, so good to see you. Okay, Timberland, ask a question. You give me one word. Investigations. What about them? You know what I mean? I don't know. You know, that's one of the titles. You know, when people say researchers, I'll go by investigator, researcher, enthusiast, or whatever. I don't get paid for this, guys. This is strictly a hobby. This is what I do for fun. I enjoy the topic. I was like everybody else. I had an experience in 2005 that basically opened up that door, and I shut that door for 16 years. I shut that door until I met Carrie Arnold, and then he kind of reopened it, and then I just kind of been running with it ever since. You know, so I've invested a lot of money into this. I've got a lot of equipment, and that's one of the things that we're going to do when I do this camp out coming up. When I do this camp out, I'm going to be on the Dirt Road Bigfoot show, the Dirt Road Bigfoot podcast. He wants to do a live while I'm out there. So I said, yeah, sure, we can do that. And I think what we're going to do is go over some of the equipment that I use while I'm out there. So I'll show you guys the thermal. I'll show you guys the drone. I'll show you guys the night vision, the audio equipment. I mean, I got a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? It's an expensive hobby, guys. It's an expensive hobby, even if you go on a cheap route. And that's one of the shows I want to do too, is to kind of show you guys how you can do this um, inexpensively. Okay, still expensive. It's still money spent on looking for Bigfoot, but you don't have to have the most expensive equipment out there. And granted, it would be nice if I could afford a $20,000 drone, I would get it. If I can, afford a $5,000 night vision or infrared, I would get it. But if you can't, I can show you things that you can do or ways you can get things and stuff like that at a less expensive. You know what I mean? And granted, there's a lot of people that have stuff that you can purchase from them. I have a Psionics. I really like this little Psionics. It's lightweight, easy to store. I got 2 batteries with it, quick to charge. I think 2 batteries, quick to charge, stuff like that. Usually runs around $800. I got it for $250 because another researcher had gotten something else and wasn't using it anymore, so he sold it to me. So sometimes great deals pop up. You just got to be patient and look for them. Yeah, Icebox Dirt Road Bigfoot is number 1 for sure. He is first class, great channel. Yeah, he's a good guy. Icebox is we talk all the time, and you know, and I remember when I did his show. I think he had 78 subscribers, and now he's over 1,000. So he's doing really good, really good. And I like him. He's got that great voice, good voice. Good podcast. He's starting to dabble into research. He's starting to get into research. He's on a camp out tonight. Matter of fact, while I'm on this show, he might be doing a live show from the camp out, maybe. But I know he's going out there just a one-nighter, just going out there one night. Richard, most compelling pics videos you have seen. Mississippi swamp bait pulling the tree apart. That is an interesting video. It has some aspects on it, like the fear. When the guy ran when the thing stood up and he ran, you could almost feel the guy's fear. See what I'm saying? I think it's a very, very interesting, very interesting. Now, in that video, though, when it does finally stand up, I don't get the sense that this thing is 7 or 8 feet tall. I think it's smaller. You know what I mean? I'm one of those believers that I think on average Sasquatch isn't a giant per se. Like here, the footprints and stuff I'm showing is this thing might be somewhere around between 6 and 7 feet, which is the average basketball player. So it's tall for sense, but not a quote giant. But that's very intriguing. That's very intriguing. Uh, I would say my favorite video, Richard. There's a couple of them, and I can't remember the name of one of them. I can't remember the name of it. But anyways, Patterson-Gimlin film is always a great film. Roger or the Freeman footage. I love that Freeman footage because at the point where it walks and it turns and looks at him, to me it looks just like Patty. I see a lot of similarity between the two. Definitely looks of something that's very, very tall, large stature and stuff like that. Especially if you can find the original where it's a lot longer. We were famous seeing the one Freeman where it walks in front of him, but there's more footage. And when you watch all that, it's even more intriguing. But there's this one, I want to say it was in Canada, but it's a family walking, and then in the distance on the tree line, this thing stands up and then turns and walks into the woods and goes around the tree. It's a very short video, very intriguing. I like that video. You don't have a lot to go by, and it is at a distance. The guy does try to zoom in as much as he can, but I think it's a good video. I really think it's a good video. Another one that I've been slowly looking at and keeping an eye on is the one where they're on the boat, and then this thing walks out of the tree line, walks across a boulder shelf, and then walks back into the woods. Kind of intriguing. Again, it's quick, but it's kind of intriguing. There's some videos out there that's made me think. You know what I mean? And some got me. Got me. Come to find out later, it's a hoax. Like the one where you see the female Bigfoot hiding behind a boulder, and she's carrying her baby, and she's running across the screen. That was a hoax. There's some good ones that got me. That when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, that looks interesting. I like that one." Then you come to find out, like I said, nowadays, like I said, I give it a week or two because there's a lot of sleuths out there. There's a lot of people out there that's going to pay attention, and they're going to do a deep dive. Then the truth comes out. I don't have time to do that. I used to do it. I don't have time to do it now. So that's why I just wait and let the other people do it, because there are people out there, especially the skeptics. They're going to find the truth. You know what I mean? Even though I like a little bit of skepticism, y'all know how I feel about that. My philosophy is you always have to go in with a little bit of skepticism, because skepticism creates questions. Questions create answers, and answers hopefully leads to research. So like today, I found from a distance, I saw it. It was an arch, and so I walked over to it, and right away I was able to debunk it as something natural. And you have to do that. You have to go into it and look at it logically, and not claim everything is a Bigfoot. I was sitting here the other night just chilling on TV. I have that where you could talk into your thing, and I said search Bigfoot, and Finding Bigfoot came on, and I started watching the show, and it just irritated me to no end, because everything out of Matthew Moneymaker's mouth was Bigfoot, Bigfoot, Bigfoot. That's a Bigfoot. That's a Bigfoot. Congratulations, you saw a Bigfoot. And every bit of it could have been debunked so quickly. There was this one where he goes into it's not even a cave. It's more of a cutout where you can squeeze in there and lay down and be out of the rain. It's not really a cave. And you can see this was evidently a fire pit. Somebody had pushed some rocks together, and there was twigs and stuff in the middle, like somebody at some point was going to start a fire. He goes in there and was like, this is a bed. This is the thing. It couldn't have been more than 2 feet across, but he's claiming it's a Bigfoot bed, and this is where Bigfoot sleep, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, you talk about losing credibility. And that's what I'm saying is, one day we might find out Matthew Moneymaker works for the CIA, and his job was to go out there and make Bigfoot people look stupid. You know what I mean? Because people can look at that going, I can't believe he thinks that's a bed. It's definitely a fire pit. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's crazy. What night tactics would you use on some back roads? Tactics, tricks, tips in order to hopefully capture video footage. The key word in that, Timberland, is night. So if you're anything at night, man, I go with that thermal. Go with that thermal. If you're cruising and driving, me personally, if you have a good spotlight, have that thing always shining forward, and have a dash cam always recording ahead of you. So you don't have to worry about always moving your camera. Have something already filming, like a dash cam, always forming. So you can focus on the thermal out the windows of the vehicle and stuff like that. Drive slow, as quiet as possible, and just keep driving. And hopefully that's the best way you can do. Stuff like audio and stuff like that's kind of worthless if you're driving, because it's going to pick up all the ambient noise and stuff like that, but I would definitely go with a dash cam constantly filming forward, hopefully with a spotlight, because if something crosses, you'll catch it. Because I don't know how well dash cams are with night vision or anything like that, or even if they have them. I think there's a little bit of nights, but I think it's mostly for ambient light, like headlights and stuff like that. So that's where the spotlight would come in handy. But thermal is the way to go. If you're anytime you say the word nighttime, you got to have that thermal. That's the most important thing. I will definitely. Now, the downfall for thermal is thermal does not record sound. I haven't seen one yet that does. I know mine doesn't. It doesn't record sound. It's just picture. So it records. I can do video. I can take snapshots and stuff like that. No, thank you, Richard. Yeah, I appreciate that. But it doesn't record sound. It doesn't record sound. So the new night vision, I did get the Akaso Seymour 200. This will be its first really solid test in the woods. It's the first time I've used it. So I'm looking forward to that. I did one video on the back patio just to play with it when I first got it. But I knew I got it for campouts, because I don't do a whole lot of night stuff during the week, or, while I'm at home. I save the night stuff for campouts. So I really look forward to using that. It uses AI technology. So it does a color night vision. So that's really exciting to use. But it also has 7 modes of regular IR night vision. If I use there's 2 modes on it, the color night vision, and the first regular night vision mode does not use IR at all. So that's really cool, because I can go out there, and if Sasquatch does see night or IR, I've got 2 modes that don't use IR at all. So it would be really, really cool if you could get Randy and Miguel down to Florida for a week when it gets colder. Now that you say that, Richard, we are actually working on that. I have been in contact with Miguel, Randy Harrington, and Johnny Two Bears. We have all decided that we are going to get together. We're going to do something. We're looking at March of 2025 and getting out there for a few days. It's a wait and see. It's too early right now to really get, involved in it. Because, it's still early in the year. We got a lot going on. I got campouts coming on. We got holidays coming up. But really getting closer to December into January, we're going to probably push it really, really hard. Yes, Leonard. Miguel from Sasquatch Theory. That's what I'm talking about. So it'll be Miguel, Randy Harrington, Johnny Two Bears with Sasquatch Encounter Brigade, and then BFFG. We will be out there. It's just tentative. Right now, we're just in the talking mode, the planning mode. When you got that many guys going out there, it's all about logistics. It's about because you got to understand, Miguel and Randy, they're driving from Missouri and stuff like that. So that's a long ways, and because they're not going to fly in, because they got all this equipment they want to use, so they're going to have to drive in. Okay. And also it's planning when we can all get the same time off. So that's key. March, it should be a good month as far as rain goes. I think we might be okay. The area that, we're still discussing the area that we're going to go into or whatever. But we're definitely, it's in the works. We're talking. If we can't do it in March, then we're going to do it later in the year when the temperatures are cooler. So, any other questions, guys? Throw them at me. Throw some questions. You know, my interest in this subject was greatly influenced in the beginning by one of his videos. Carry On was the linchpin, but Miguel's video on the current river with a farmer really influenced me. Yeah, Miguel is a great guy. I did his show. We've spoken. We've spoken on the phone quite a bit. I check on him, see how he's doing and stuff like that. Fantastic guy. Really like the guy a lot. He's the same on the show and off the show. You know what I mean? He's the same. You know, a really good kid. I like him, and he comes with some knowledge, and he comes with some really good equipment. He's got some really good equipment, and that's like Randy Harrington. He's a man's man. He's out there. He's in the woods doing what I do, and he thinks outside the box, and I like that. Same with Johnny Two Bears. Johnny is fearless, as far as I'm concerned, because he tries to get way too close to these creatures. But again, Johnny thinks outside the box. He's always trying to create different ideas and different things to try to draw these things out. So I think when we all get together, again, it's a numbers thing. Hopefully we do catch something really solid and stuff like that. We're always in hopes of that. But if not, it would just be fantastic to be out in the woods with these men that I respect a lot and have conversation and throw theories at each other and little things like that. So I think it'll be a good time. I think it'll be absolutely good time. And and Kerry Arnold, great guy. Like I said, you'll never hear me say one bad thing about Kerry Arnold ever. Who's the other guy? Randy Harrington works with at the 400. I forgot to say. Oh, you're talking about Shane. Yeah. I haven't seen too much out of him lately. But I don't know Shane that well. But I'm more, I am in contact with Randy. Randy's a great guy. He just did a documentary. He was out in the woods for a week. I'm pretty sure he's at home resting and getting back in the swing of things. So, a matter of fact, I got to touch base with him. Y'all have seen my shirts. Give me a second here. All right, so these are the shirts. You see me wear it all the time. So it's sleeveless, and it's got the BFFG Bigfoot thing on there. And on the back, it has my banner, just like what's behind me. So I've ordered some more of these, and I'm sending one to Randy, one to Miguel, one to Johnny. Oh, who else? There was 4 of them. Johnny, Miguel, Randy. Oh, and Icebox. Sending him one. So they'll be getting those. I was supposed to have them in this past Thursday, but they haven't come in yet. But again, the hurricane's Helene probably backed up a lot of things. So now we got another hurricane coming. So please, 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 guys, pray for us, because I wasn't really worried about Helene because I wasn't in the area where I was going to get a direct hit. We did get a lot of rain and a lot of winds. We did lose power and stuff like that. This one's heading directly for us. This one's, so far, the models have it coming directly for us. So I'm not happy about that. And I'm unprepared. Just so y'all know, I am unprepared. Let's see, Shane. Yep, that's it. Yep. Nice shirts. Let us know when you have them for sale. Well, here's the thing is I would love to sell them. The reason why I don't, is the base price. This is my price. When I call my guy and say, hey, I need 4 shirts, or I need 3 shirts, or I need whatever, they're $22 a piece. So if I sold them, for me to make anything off of them, I'd have to make them $25, $30 a piece. I'm not going to charge anybody $25, $30 for this shirt, even though it's nice material. It's that wicking material. They're real lightweight fishing, like fishing shirts and stuff. So it's really lightweight. Really good shirt. I like sleeveless. So I think the shirt would be way too expensive. So I can't sell them because I can't do that. Now, if somebody says, hey, I'll buy one for you, I'll send you $22, that's fine. But I'm not going to make an order until I at least get 4 or 5 of them because I want to make it worth the guy's time. You know what I mean? But then it's still going to end up costing me money because I got to pay the shipping and all that. I don't know, man. It's not one of those things I don't know. Yeah, how could I forget Icebox? Hey, slipped my mind, man. I am getting older. Speaking of equipment, a high-quality pair of binoculars should be standard. Surprised not used for daytime. No, Richard, I do use them during daytime. I absolutely do. And you're absolutely right. Even in the woods, not open fields, in the woods, binoculars are fantastic because you can get really in-depth and in areas where you can really, really look at stuff. Okay? I use them all the time. Matter of fact, there's a few videos ago where the same guy that's going on the camp out with me was with me, and I saw something. And it was about 100 and something yards away, and I was like, man, what is that? So I told, without keep getting my eyes off of what I was looking at, because I didn't want to turn away and look, and it was gone. So I said, look, while I'm looking that way, reach in my pack and get my binoculars. And he handed them to me. I looked at it, pareidolia. That's all it was. You know what I mean? But I do. I have a very tiny little pair of that's lightweight. Then I've got some really nice binoculars I really like. It's just that when I put them on my neck and I'm going through the woods, after a while it starts to hurt my neck because they are a little bit heavy, stuff like that. But yeah, binoculars are fantastic. Yeah, but Leonard, you're down in the Miami area. I think you're gonna be okay. I'm like right in the middle of the state where this thing looks like it's gonna hit. So I'm south of Orlando. I'm not looking forward to it either. 35 plus shipping is not unreasonable. I don't know, man. I'm one of these people, man. I'm stingy, so I don't want to spend my money on something stupid. And to me, I'm just thinking out of myself, $35 for these shirts. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, but is it worth it? I mean, if I make $1 or $2 a shirt, it really isn't worth it. You know what I mean? Oh, speaking of hats. Oh, listen up. This hat. See this hat right here? Let me tell you about this hat. Okay. I just got this hat. Okay. A coworker went to Oregon, and I made a comment. I said, hey, man, when you go to Oregon, could you do me a favor? If you end up anywhere near or in Boring, Oregon, so y'all know where I'm leading at when I say Boring, Oregon, could you go by the Bigfoot Museum? And that's Cliff Brockman's museum right there in Boring. I said, and if you could pick me up a souvenir, I would just like a souvenir from his museum, and I'll pay you when you get back, whatever. So they did that, and I want to give a shout out. Kara, thank you very much for doing this for me. I appreciate it a lot. Wonderful. I love it. So she gets there, and the place was closed. She missed it by 15 minutes. Museum was closed. So she got the hat from another local vendor there that was selling Bigfoot merchandise. So she got me the hat. So I do have a hat from Boring, and I will wear it a lot. So this hat's already been from Oregon to Florida. So pretty awesome. Some people still have their first Holy Communion. All right. Well, I'm Baptist, so I'm broke. So I don't have anything. But yeah, it's funny. That's funny. So anybody got anything else for me? Throw it at me, because I'm a ball of energy right now. I don't have a whole lot going on. So if you got a question or anything like that, tonight was really good. Started off with the discussion of what I wanted to discuss. We kind of hit topic on that. And I don't mind it going off in any direction, guys. I really don't. This is my opportunity. Like I said, I only get every other week to do this and talk to you guys. The next one will be at the camp out. I will do a live at the camp out. So look forward to that, and it'll be in the field. So we'll talk about what has has been going on or what will be going on. Everything that we'll discuss will be about that week and what's happening and stuff like that. Again, I will be doing the Dirt Road Bigfoot podcast while we're out there. I think we're planning on doing that. We haven't narrowed it down now, but I think it's either going to be a Friday night or Saturday night. But we will absolutely let you know ahead of time. I will definitely post it on my channel when we have an exact time and date. We did it last year with the Not So Perfect Bigfoot show and I had me and Marie DeMont from Mid Florida Bigfoot Research Group. She was out there. Spectacular lady. She's definitely a trooper. And we had a good time. And it's just fun when you get other researchers out there that you can talk to, throw theories at, And that's where the community comes in, when you have people like that. Especially, you can agree or disagree. I don't have to agree with everything. I don't. Okay. But I still respect that researcher. I really respect them. We just don't always agree on everything, but that's where research comes from. So when you have that kind of community, instead of bashing each other, oh, he doesn't believe me, so he doesn't believe that it's Gigantopithecus or came from a UFO, and then they get all pissed, and all of a sudden you lost a friend. It shouldn't be that way. Me and Marie can talk, or me and Johnny can talk, or me and Randy can talk, and we may disagree, or me and Miguel may disagree on something. I still respect the hell out of them, so that's what it's all about. I have seen you use them. No one else does. That is what I meant. Use what? What are we talking about? Use what? Oh, binoculars. Oh, we're going back to the binocular thing. Yeah, I do use them. I like using them. I used them today, matter of fact. It's just not on film. Like I said, especially Richard, I'm out there, like I said, 3, 4, 5 hours, and I've got to narrow a lot of that stuff down. A lot of it's boring, where I'm just walking. There's no talking. There's nothing. It's just walking. So I gotta narrow things down and stuff like that. There's times I sit down in my chair, and that's all I do for 30 minutes is glass the woods and glass different areas to see if anything moves or anything like that. You ever notice when I never stop looking around, even when I'm filming and I'm talking to the camera, I'm constantly looking around. I'm always paying attention to what's going on around me. And I've caught stuff that way. Like, oh crap, something moved over there. And then I will try to flip the camera so everybody can see what I'm looking at and stuff like that. Always paying attention. And it's just hard sometimes when I'm filming, I'm not glassing because I can't do both at the same time. So sometimes I'll set up my tripod and film, and then I'll sit there for half hour, 45 minutes and glass and sit and listen and stuff like that, That's why I'm really looking forward to this camp out, because now I can do some stuff like leave audio overnight and stuff like that. This area, we've caught some amazing vocals at night. I'm talking vocals that just, they surprised me. They spooked me. I was like, oh my God, I'm glad I wasn't there to hear that. Very spooky stuff, and I'm only human. Guys, I tell you, I'm quick to tell you if I'm freaked out there. I have no problems. Swamp gas, I still have yet to find it. More scarce than Bigfoot. Well, I've seen it a few times. I've seen swamp gas a few times. One, it's, again, you have to be out there at nighttime. I don't know where you're at. Timberland, where'd you say you're at? Were you in Ontario? See, down here in the South, we have a lot of swamps. And what happens in the swamps is they dry up and it gets kind of musky and stuff like that. And then you get a lot of leaf litter, a lot of stuff. And it just, over years and years and years and years and years, Ontario, okay, it builds up. And then it floods and it builds up and it floods and builds up. Well, what happens is it creates a lot of methane. And that's what swamp gas is. It's methane. So what happens is it finally seeps to the surface, especially during the day where it's super freaking hot out. Sometimes it ignites and it causes this bright ball flash and stuff like that. You'll see it out in the woods and stuff like that. And it moves with the wind. So if there's a slight breeze, this ball of gas will float. And it looks like it's zigzagging through the trees, like it's got sense, but it really doesn't. It's just following the breeze and stuff like that. I think sometimes when people see orbs, that's what they're seeing is some swamp gas. Um, Sometimes in worst case scenario, in the dry times, we'll have what they call a muck fire, where it's a fire underground. And the only thing you see seeping up is the smoke because the fire is actually underground. Very difficult to put out. Very difficult to put out. So I wonder if you ever watch any vids from Tim Fasano back in the day. My first big research channel. He passed away recently. I did see, I don't know a lot about him. But I do remember somebody posting something about him passing. But I didn't know much about him at all. I didn't. Maybe it's something I should go back and look at and see some of his research and stuff like that. I follow so many channels on YouTube that, that I pay attention to and stuff like that. Granted, there's a lot that I do not pay attention to because I think they're full of baloney, but, there's some that I do respect and I do watch and stuff like that, until they prove me otherwise. There's a guy, and like I said, a lot of researchers, that I don't like or don't respect, or I don't call them out. I don't put their names out there. It doesn't do anybody any good. I don't want to put negative vibes out there. But there was this one in particular I used to watch, and I thought, okay, he's interesting and pleasant to listen to and stuff like that. Until he took a photograph of an orb and zoomed into the orb and said there's a Sasquatch inside the orb. And that was it for me. I stopped watching his stuff. I'm just not doing it. So everybody knows, it's just no secret. I'm not into the metaphysical at all. I am trying to get better at not calling it the woo. I really don't. I can understand why they don't like that term and stuff like that. So I just call them the metaphysical or the metas, the metaphysical, because that's what it really boils down to. I'm just not into anything supernatural or anything like that. Like I said, I brought it up before. I think one of the best quotes I ever heard Jeff Meldrum say was, "You can't solve an unknown with an unknown," and I agree. You know what I mean? Like I said, that's what a lot of researchers do is they come up with some crazy quantum physics kind of answer when really the answer is, I don't know. That's the real answer, guys. If you ask me how did this happen or how did this happen, and if I don't have the answer, I'm going to tell you I don't know. But I'm not going to create an answer just so you think I'm an expert and I have all the answers, because that's not true. So just with that said, honesty is everything. Integrity is everything. And if I don't get evidence for the next year, I'm still going out there every weekend. I'm still camping. I'm still hiking. I'm still doing what I'm doing. It's a win-win situation, guys. I love the outdoors. I love being in the woods. So I lost that for 16 years. I didn't enjoy it. I still get scared. I'm not going to lie. After my experience, there is some fear when I go out there by myself. But I do find a place and I sit down and I feel good. I'm glad I'm back in the woods. Now, I'm not going to ever hunt again, but I like being out there. And so it's a win-win. You know what I mean? Okay, so today I didn't get any Bigfoot footage or I didn't get any evidence or anything like that, but I still got to hike. I still got to enjoy the wilderness. I still got to take some great nature shots. And that's one of the things that y'all don't see very little of. I do put a little bit at the end of my videos and stuff. Those are my pictures. At the end of my videos, where I'll put some print like check out these channels or like and subscribe at the end of my video. Those are my pictures. Okay, so I take a lot of nature photos while I'm out there. Maybe I'll do a video one day where I kind of lay those out there so you guys get an idea of some of the pictures I take while I'm out there. So it's a win-win for me. When I leave the woods and come home, I feel like I accomplished something. I feel like I'm glad I got out of bed. I'm glad I went out there, and I wish more people did it. I really do wish more people did it. So it's a win-win. Now, if I do get evidence, I get a good footprint, or I get a good vocal, or someday get a good video, that's just icing on the cake. That's just icing on the cake. So I'm glad I'm out there. I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing. I just bring you guys along for the ride. Okay. It's literally when I started doing this and I was talking to the team, I want it to be about the subscribers, period. That's why I thank you guys all the time. That's why I'm so appreciative of you guys. I want to make it about you. That's why I'm doing this. I was like, well, what else, what more can I do? So I started doing these where you come on, you talk, you ask me questions. I want to know more about you and stuff like that, you know. Um, Leonard, we've spoken through email. So you know, I'm willing to reach out. If you want to reach out to me and talk to me and stuff like that, I have no problems with it. I have no issues. What I've got subscribers that call me on a regular basis and talk to me on the phone. You know what I mean? Shout out to Dawn, you know, wonderful girl. She's up in hell, I can never tell where she's at. She might be in Texas, she might be in Louisiana or whatever. But gotta respect her. Gotta respect her. Got a lot of respect in her. Um, but these are people that will reach out to me and call me or email me and stuff like that, because I wanted to be about you guys. I don't want the subscriber forgotten, because I do this for you guys. I take you guys out there. I want you guys to see what we do, see what we get into, and see the areas that we get into. So it's all about you. So, um, you know, I don't want to ever forget that. I'm never monetizing the channel. This thing will always be free, period. You know, if I got the best footage in the world and I was offered $1 million, I would probably put it on here for free first. Just telling you, I'd probably put it on here for free, because it's all about you guys. Bigfoot channels multiplying like roaches. I unsubscribe from Bigfoot Society. Freaking 6 upcoming videos on my feed every day. Yeah, there are some that's it's kind of overwhelming that they put it out constantly putting out material. But you got to. I divide things into two parts. You have podcasts; those are interviews and stuff like that. They're interesting. I like listening to the interviews. I like some of the questions that are asked and stuff like that. But then you've got researchers. These are the guys in the field, showing you stuff. So I kind of separate the two. See what I'm saying? I'm more into the research side of it, you know, because I'm a researcher, so I'm more focused on the research side of it and the information that they're coming out with. I'm always interested in listening to and stuff like that. But like I said, I narrow it down to the ones that I respect and the ones that I trust, that I know they're giving me good information and their integrity is there. A prime example. Sorry to do this to you, Johnny, but I'm throwing you out there. I really like Johnny because when I first started watching his channel, he did something. I forgot what it was. He filmed something or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, this is what it is." Blah 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 blah. Literally, a few days later, a week later, he comes back on, does a whole show on that footage, and says, "Look, I had it wrong. After a deep dive of myself and looking at it and viewing it and checking it out, I think it was this, and it wasn't a Bigfoot. It wasn't this." That was integrity. He came on, owned it, and told everybody, I duped myself. I thought it was something, and it wasn't. And that showed me what kind of integrity he had right there. And that's what I actually reached out to him and said, "Hey, man, I respect that. That's why I'm going to watch your channel, blah, blah, blah." And then we ended up talking back and forth and becoming friends. I've gone to Georgia to research with him. He's come to Florida and researched with us. We've now become friends. I think Johnny's a fantastic guy. And anybody says anything bad about him, you'll have to definitely deal with me. No one is getting rich on the most important aspect of the subjects. My home is the force for the government to recognize and accept existence. Yeah, that's what we were discussing earlier. I don't think the government's ever going to do it. I think local government does. I think local government just, you know, like Florida, we have things in writing that says you cannot take a skunk ape and stuff. It's in the hunting regulations, which is a thumbnail for this video. I think it was anyways, but it might have changed. I don't know. If anybody ever wants to see it, I can send it to you. But anyways, it's in the hunting regulations that we can't shoot a skunk ape. Why is it there? It's a government document. It's on a government website. So they do recognize it at certain levels. I don't think the federal government will. I think they know it exists. I truly do. But I don't think they're ever going to acknowledge it. I'm sure there's a lot of reasons why. We can debate the reasons why. I have a few theories, same theories as some other researchers. Um, is what it is. So that's what I'm saying is if I find this thing like that, let's come back to that. That hoaxed video of the dead baby Bigfoot that was going around on TikTok and all that, the dead baby Bigfoot. So, in my opinion, if it was me and I came across something like that, I'm telling you right now, man, my backpack would be full of evidence: hair, fingernails, a hand, an eyeball. I don't care. I'm putting as much as I can so I can take it home secretly because I'm not going to take the whole body, but secretly take what I can so that I can get with the proper people and get it out there and get it tested and verify and stuff like that. So, um, Ohio is fantastic. They have official State Department of Forest and Parks videos about that melody. These things. I haven't seen anything from them, from the State Department of Forests and Parks in Ohio. It'd be interesting to see something that they actually acknowledge it. We've come close here in Florida. Jimmy actually spoke with a FWC officer and in one of the research areas a couple years ago. And Kerry was president too. Kerry Arnold was present. Some other people were present. Where Kerry just blatantly went up to the guy and said, "So, have you seen any boogers? You know what? Sasquatch, Bigfoot. You're out there. They're out there." And then the guy, Jimmy tells the story better, but the FWC officer looks at Kerry and goes, "Well, there was this," and then he stopped. He was about to say something. He was about to open up about it, and then he shut up. But Jimmy was able to get this guy's phone number. I don't know if anything panned out with the phone number, if they've been able to get in contact with each other and talk. But I don't think this guy will go on a record or on a phone or anything because I think he'd fear that he'd be recorded, and he wants to keep his job. So I don't think he'll go that far. It's the same thing. I did this story a long time ago. I haven't talked about it a long time ago, but listen to this. This is really interesting. So there's an area of the state park that's never seen. Nobody goes into this, and it's thousands and thousands of acres. Nobody goes on this side, period. There's no access to it. There's no trails. There's no roads. There's nothing. It's just one area that I drive past, and it's so creepy. And I'm like, man, I really, really would like to get in there. So one day I'm driving through the park to get to the other side. You can drive through it to get to a county road. So I pull up to the gate, where the guy comes out to take your money. But if you're just driving through, they just wave you on. So he comes over and I said, "I want to ask you a question." I said, "That area down there is part of the park, right?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "So technically we're allowed to go in there." And he said, "Yeah." I said, "But the only access is from this end, which is 3-4 mile hike to get that way through thick woods, thick swamp, and everything. That's why nobody goes there." He goes, "Well," he goes, "there is another access that nobody knows about," and he started to tell me how to get back there to get into that area. So he started to tell me, he says, "Well, if you go down such and such road, then you got to go down." Then he stops and he looks at me and he goes, "Why do you want to go in there?" And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to test the waters with this guy. So I basically created a story, and I said, "Well, I was riding down 66 and I was going by there and I saw something strange. And I just always wanted to go in there, investigate and look and find out what was it that I saw in there and stuff like that." And just because I said that, he leaned into my window and he goes, "Do not go in there. If I catch you in there," he goes, "I will have you trespassed. You will be arrested immediately. Do not go in there." All of a sudden, his attitude changed. Just like that. Just like that. Before, he's about to give me directions to go in there. But now I tell him a reason why I may be going in there. All of a sudden, he don't want to have anything to do with it. Nope. If you don't go in there. That's when I started having issues with a particular FWC officer that would always pop up on my radar when I went out in that area. Always pop up on my radar. And always had something sarcastic to say, always had something smart to say. Oh, you're looking for Bigfoot. That's a joke. Just always these sarcastic remarks as he walked past me and stuff like that. Or if I'm researching a particular area and I'm hiking down a road, I'll watch him, you know, drive by or stop and watch me and stuff like that. Kind of harassment, but kind of not harassment because technically he is doing his job by watching me. But so I don't go out there very often. I give it big breaks so he loses track of me and doesn't forgets about me. Then every once in a while he'll pop up on my radar again and be watching what I'm doing and stuff like that. So, yeah, Leonard, if you could send me something in my email, I'd be more than happy to look at them. Yeah, send it to me. Anybody wants to email me, it's BFFG Bigfoot Research at gmail.com. BFFG Bigfoot Research at gmail.com. Hit me up, send me whatever you want to send me. If you got something for me to look at, again, I'm not here to piss people off. I will always give you my honest opinion. That's it. That's all I can do. I'm not gonna lie. I had somebody send me an audio. They sent me an audio. They said, "Could you please look at this?" So I listened to it, and literally right off the bat, I already formed my opinion on what I was listening to. So as a second opinion, I sent it to somebody I know that does audio, and I said, "Hey, could you look at this or listen to this and tell me what you think?" Literally an hour later, they came back to me and told me the same thing I already thought it was. Basically, it was a coyote. That's what it was. It was a coyote. So when this person got back with me, I said, "Look, I hate to bust your bubble, but it's a coyote." They accepted it very well. Some people don't. Some people don't. They still want to argue with you, and that's okay. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna be honest with you and give you my honest opinion. A lot of people don't realize is coyotes and stuff like that. They have I don't know what the number was, 40, 50, 60 different vocalizations. It's a lot of vocalizations. So for somebody to say, "Well, I know what coyotes sound like," you haven't heard everything a coyote can sound like. Not if they've got 40, 50, 60 vocalizations. You have not heard everything. So all of a sudden you hear something, you're like, "I've never heard that before." Might be a coyote, but I've never heard that before. It probably still is a coyote. So keep that in mind. Still hydrating from today. Humidity in Florida is unbearable. Unbearable. All right, so been on for almost 2 hours. That's the longest time I've been on here. But it's been fantastic. You guys have been awesome. Glad to see Leonard again. Richard, fantastic, man. Great questions. A lot of great guys. Timberland, it was good seeing you. I hope you come back. Like I said, I'll be doing this again on the camp out. So, bar any further questions, if you got it, might as well throw it at me. If not, we're going to move forward. I'm going to relax a little bit. Tomorrow, I will not be doing anything because it is supposed to be pouring down rain all day. So that's why I get out today. So if not, I want to wish you guys all a fantastic weekend. And I want to make sure God blesses each and every one of you guys. And you are happy in life and doing wonderful. And please, get out in the woods. Get out there. Have fun. Enjoy it. Camp. Take the kids out there. Take the grandkids out there. Enjoy nature. Enjoy it. And just have fun. And you might get lucky. And you might see this crazy thing we call skunk ape. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, whatever you want to call him. I don't care. But enjoy the woods. God bless each and every one of you guys. I appreciate you, and I will be talking to you soon, okay? Take care. Good night, Leonard.